Hello everyone and welcome to Cinderful Gaming. I hope you're all doing well, I hope you're all staying safe, and most of all, I hope you're all fighting that war against the grey. Today's video, we got some teasers in a cool little video by Games Workshop on Warhammer Community the other day, and we got essentially teased some miniatures that are coming out over the course of the year. We of course got the same sort of video last year, and it was pretty cool breaking down and figuring out what we had, and then looking back and seeing all those things come to fruition. And so today, we're going to look at some images I've taken from that video, and we're going to talk a little bit about each one, about what we think we are seeing. And of course, I'd love to hear from everyone in the comments what you think we're seeing, what do you think we're going to see in these, and give us all your guesses at everything in the video. I'd love to hear from everyone. Without further ado though, let's get cracking into the pictures. There's a few of them to get through, and some are the same model, but let's get cracking into it nonetheless, and let's have a look at what we saw. And so, this was the first image shown. For me, straight away, this is obviously Warhammer 40k and not Age of Sigmar, unless of course it is maybe Chaos Dwarves coming back to haunt us, but for me, this definitely looks like a Chaos Demon engine, and in particular, I'm thinking maybe a Chaos Knight gun arm. It does look like it's got plasma coils there at the back of it, so it could perhaps maybe even be something like a Defiler or something like that. A new Defiler would be really cool, but you can sort of see behind it as well, it's got some colouring, and that may be the torso of the model, which means this arm is sort of dropping below the torso, from what I'm gathering, which does lead me to believe it's the Chaos Knight, because the arms generally do hang that little bit lower than the torso. It's also sort of posed outwards, which you can get from posing knights, so that would be my guess for this one. Next, we have this lantern. Straight away, green glowy lantern. This screams Nighthaunt to me more than anything. We've also got that weird sort of gangly, weird looking arm, which of course we saw something similar in the Krulghast Excruciator that came out in Broken Realms, so it's just adding more to that Nighthaunt sort of feeling. We do see some more pictures of this model later. You can see at the top left there is a candle, and we'll get to that picture. I do think this is going to be like a new Nighthaunt character released alongside the rumoured Nighthaunt Battle Tome this year. We then cut to a cloak. Now, the one thing here that I sort of see when I look at this cloak is in the middle there, you've got the little pendant gem. Now, we do have tears in this as well, which you can see down the bottom, and there's also some on the other side, which means we've got two parts of this cloak. For me, that gem is very Eldar-ish, but the tattered sort of cloak, I guess, makes me think it's not. That top sort of part is some metallics on the end and does look very 40k. This one, I'm a little bit harder to sort of figure out exactly what we are looking at in this one. Maybe some sort of ruined robe. If it was, this sort of robe and this sort of style is something similar to what we see on either Chaos normally, or indeed on Soulblight Gravelords or Nighthaunt or something like that. But the little gem pendant, for me, really does sort of throw me off, because that is very Eldar elfish looking to me. So I'm not entirely sure what we're looking at in this one. This one is one of the ones that is sort of leaving me a little bit, I guess, confused as to what I'm actually looking at. And again, we have what I think is the Chaos Knight. Now, this does just look like a knight's backpack with all these pylons coming out. You can see the curvature of the model there as well, looking like a shoulder pad in the front right of the corner. And you can see the little hatches. It does look very knighty. So I definitely do think we are going to see some Chaos Knights. This just screams Chaos Knight to me. And then we cut on over, and this is the shoulder pad. You can see at the right hand side we've got those same sort of pylons. We're looking at a different angle of the same model. We've got the cool little vulture bird there, and all the spikes coming through a shoulder pad. Just more and more looking like that Chaos Knight. I definitely think this is what we're seeing here. Maybe this is a bigger version or a smaller version, maybe a different sort of Chaos Knight variant class. And our last picture of what I assume is the same miniature in the Chaos Knights. Definitely looks like we've got one of the leg pistons there and some sort of cabling with spikes. I mean, Chaos love their spikes, so I think this is just another picture looking at that same model once more. Next up, I have what I'm pretty sure is Ossiarch Bone Reapers. It's got that bone look to it, obviously, and that sort of singular spine that Ossiarch have, with the weird looking bone shapes around it. I definitely think this is some sort of Ossiarch Bone Reaper creature. Now, this does sort of look how Mortek Guard do, and you can see how the arms are posed. It looks like the one on the left is sort of posed straight out, while we've got a bend and pointing downwards on the right hand arm. Perhaps this is the Mortek Archers. You can see they're definitely holding something out in front of them. That's not the head, because that is definitely higher. So I think this could be a picture of the back of one of the Mortek Archers. However, looking at this second picture, I've just noticed, I think this is the same thing we were just looking at. I didn't notice that on first glance when I was looking through the pictures before, but I do think this is the same miniature we were just looking at. So you've got that skull head there, and I'm not exactly sure what that is a skull of. And you can see sort of the bone there is very thin. I think maybe this is some sort of throne, maybe even a seat atop some sort of monster. We were told in the rumours that maybe we're going to get an Ossiarch Bone Reapers monster for a liege, and maybe this is sort of the throne they're sitting upon or part of said monster. This definitely is leaving me a little bit confused now upon second look, because I do think that is the picture we were looking at just before, so maybe it is not a Mortek Archer. Now, this scythe here is one of two things. You can sort of see the way the weapon is built and the way it looks is very much reminiscent of Ossiarch Bone Reaper style. It's even got that sort of melded bone of like weird shape. We've obviously seen things like Khaine's Reapers and Khaine himself having like a big sire, so maybe a generic version of the hero that Khaine is perhaps. This could also be a Nighthaunt model as well, certainly. It's got like the right sort of aesthetic with the holes and the sort of jagged edges and decrepified sort of blade that it is. But I do think just that hilt, or the haft of the weapon rather, is much more Ossiarch Bone Reapers like to me than anything. And so we come back to looking at that cloak that was confusing me before. So we've got that pendant, and now we definitely have an Eldar symbol on this. So I think actually now looking upon this more, there are two things I think this could be. The first one, maybe this is a Ynnari model, a sort of style of model we haven't really seen a lot of. So perhaps this is the aesthetic that we're going for the Ynnari and I guess the Warriors of Yned. The other one, I look at that knee pad on the left leg of the model there, and perhaps that could be bone. So is this maybe a Dark Reaper perhaps as well? You've got that very heavy boot down on the bottom right. It does look like it is highlighted with Dark Reaper and all those colours we associate with those models. And you've also got the skull once more sitting there on the, I guess, pelvis of the model as a belt buckle. So is this perhaps a Dark Reaper model, or even in fact Malgan Ra? And so next up we get a pretty good shot of this particular model. Now a lot of people at first thought said Witch Elf or said Malarian's Elves. For me though, I don't think that's what this is. That blade on its left hand and the tassels and the fact it's wearing a little too much clothing, I don't actually think this is Dark Elf. I think this is either Drukhari or Ynnari. It just doesn't have the right sort of look to me. It looks very witch cult from 40k to me. I don't know what exactly, but that's what I'm seeing from this model. What do you think? Do you think this is Dark Elves, Malarian's Elves, Marathi, some new sort of Khainite Shadowstalker, or do you in fact perhaps think this is Drukhari or Ynnari? And another image that I really have no idea. There's a few things that I guess just strike to me. First of all, Tyranid is sort of what I think I'm looking at, but it definitely looks odd and weird, and maybe this is in fact Nighthaunt. The red here is certainly an interesting one for me. I don't know exactly what I'm looking at, and for me Tyranid's red, that's High Fleet Kraken. If I think I've got my stuff right there, is that Kraken, or am I completely misremembering my Tyranid lore here? Let me know if I am. But yeah, I'm not sure. But we do have what I think are other pictures of this model. A closer look at this blade, and I think this is the same model, and this for me is starting to go more into the Tyranid territory. I think we can see one of its wings behind here, and it does look like a very serpentine body, so this is leading me to believe more Tyranids. Perhaps maybe this is a new and improved Red Terror, perhaps, if we are indeed going with the Kraken. And then we get a look at the wing, and once again, this is just pushing me more and more towards my Tyranid line of thinking. It's got the right sort of patterns on it and the right sort of look, I think, for a Tyranid wing. So I do think we're looking at Tyranids. I just don't know exactly what we're looking at. Maybe a brand new Tyranid Warbeast. What do you think on this one? We then cut to this model. Now this is a hand holding some sort of gun with a pretty large stock on the back of the gun. I think that's the trigger there that his hand is actually on. And you can see the stock behind it. Maybe he's holding the gun sort of leaning it against himself. But that does look like a coat on the front there. You can sort of see the buttons. So some sort of trench coat or overcoat on the model. This perhaps is maybe some sort of Necromunda model we are going to see. Really not too sure on this one. Some sort of Adeptus Mechanicus or maybe even a Rogue Trader model. This one is definitely 40k, but it is throwing me off as to what exactly it is. Now we go back to the book. This is the model I think we saw before, and maybe this and the bone are all a singular model. We can sort of see a hand grasping the page here, and we've got more pictures of this particular model as well. I do think this just looks Nighthaunt to me when you start putting it together with all the other pieces. And as mentioned, here are those candles I think we saw in the one that I thought was a Nighthaunt model earlier in the video. Candles, melting wax, the black sort of flowy smoke stuff, all to me it just screams Nighthaunt. And lastly, another good look at the book. We can see the candles in the background. We can see that weird gangly arm. This, for me, is just all the same model. I think we've got a really good look at a big Nighthaunt model coming for the army at some point this year. What could it be? What do you reckon this big Nighthaunt model could be if it is indeed a big Nighthaunt model, in fact? And lastly, this, for me, is the avatar of Khaine. So, a few reasons for this. We've got the big sort of Khainite symbol on its chest here. But then you can also see like the big torso with the six-pack. And it does look like they've gone for glowy, flaming effects on it. Going for the sort of black magma and hardened magma, and then the big red glow from the inside. I definitely think this is the avatar of Khaine we are seeing here. Now look at the spear as well. The avatar of Khaine, obviously the Forge World model had a spear. I think this is the model we are going to see. The blade here just screams avatar. It's big, it's red, it's glowy. All of it sort of looking like that new avatar model we were promised, and please, please be a brand new avatar. The flames here, you can see that black and red pattern. I do think we're looking at the same model once again. However, I think this is actually a knee of the model. I think that's its knee pad there. These are flames that are going to be like billowing out the back of the leg of the model from what this sort of looks like to me. I think that's a knee, sort of knee pad sort of facing offwards, and I think they're flames coming out of the leg. And lastly, I think the one that gives this away as an avatar, you can see the big swirly hair, the hand sort of raised there as well. The avatar has certainly become Thanos himself, and then also just the head and everything about that. You can see the crest. This all just looks exactly like an avatar. But that is all of the pictures from the little reveal. What do you think we're seeing? Do you reckon we've got the avatar, the big Nighthaunt character coming? The ones I couldn't sort of figure out, what do you reckon they are? Let us know in the comments below. Well, that's the end of the video. Thank you all for watching. Please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe if you have not already. And also, why not drop us a comment below and let us know what you enjoyed about the video. If you'd like to come chat more with me and other members of our little community here at Sinful Gaming, you can do so by following the link in the video's description to our Discord server. Also, if you'd like to help support the channel more and in another way, you can do so either by supporting on Patreon or YouTube members. You can do either of these by following the links in the video's description, and as a special thing for everyone who does, would like to give a shout out first of all to our Patreons: Christian Weir, James Soren, Greenskins Gaming, AJC, Kenny Lowell, Outer and Shot First, Andrew Bowen, Nathan Fee, The Rising Ape, Q Dynamic, Agu, Anthony B, Anton Nilsson, JJ Austrian, Average Wargamer, Domer, Mark Harvey, James Cater, and Samuel. And a special shout out as well to our YouTube members: Greenrich Gaming, Kenton Young, Chris Wallace, Ronya, Vinny, Lockloric, The Johnny84, David Ellsworth, Revenar, Wolfric Nick, Broken Chef, and Sean Scott. Lastly, a special thank you to, first of all, Lady Witchfox Art, who does all the amazing artwork for the channel you can see here, and to Xmorphic, who does all the amazing background work for our Discord server, making sure it all works nice and properly over there. Thank you all for watching once again, everyone. Stay safe, stay well, and most of all, keep fighting that war against the Grey. Ciao for now.